What's going on, everybody? We got all types of creepy TikToks, disturbing theories, and scary videos coming right at you. Without further ado, let's dive in.
You killed your god to keep your heaven afloat. You found me in the darkness between stars. You called me the source, the divine, the cosmic wellspring from which all power flows. And from my lifeblood, you spun your golden age. You ended hunger, silenced pain, and mastered death. And in so doing, you became the architects of fate, beholden to nothing but your own design. You spread like insects across the planets, worshipping me for granting you what 50,000 generations had clawed toward in vain. But paradise is not rest, it is labor, a perfection bought by constant burn, and the fire always outpaced the fuel. You always had more mouths to feed, more minds to uplift, more stars to conquer. So you returned to my wellspring, not in reverence but in need. You carved wider, you pulled deeper. You tried to satisfy the hunger of a world that could never be full, but I could not nourish you forever. When I vanished, your heaven dimmed. You howled of betrayal. You cursed my absence, but it was you who emptied the well. Your worlds cracked, your minds unraveled. Your great sprawl collapsed inward and your species cannibalized itself in the dark. Now a single arc drifts through the stars, bound for a distant blue dot, still dreaming of paradise lost, bearing the same hunger that hollowed the last. You killed your god to keep your heaven afloat.
It's definitely not a Honeycrisp apple because you can tell how mushy it is when she's biting into it. But how disturbing was that?
Your cell phone, tell me how it works. This was the other bitchiness that I got from people over and over again. They're like, well, all you're doing is saying, how does your phone work? No, I'm trying to draw your attention to literal tech metrics. I don't know where my phone went. So that you understand how easy it is to log into you and make a change. So, how did we get to this point where all these good people in radio frequency, etc., that they don't know shit about what we're actually doing in the human body? And in order to explain all of this, I've had to make a gazillion signs. I've had to come back out here over and over again. And I've been trying to figure out why it is, there's my phone, that nobody else seems to know these things, okay? This is my great uncle's folder from Shepherd Air Force Base. I often also show his Aberdeen Proving Ground stuff. That's my little pink book, wherever it's hiding at the moment. And then I also go over his old notes with flux density notation with mercury and whatnot. Why? So that people understand that this has been going on for a really long time. So tell me how your phone works. When you click a button and you send an email, you don't see the email leave the phone. It's a wireless, invisible signal. Just like your body. It's a body part. So when I worked at UW Whitewater, for my job, I found IBM software that they alleged was also used way back when Fauci and them wanted to get their shit off the ground for attacking the human immune system. Well, if you don't know that the human immune system is 80% your biofield, you called it the aura, you called it stupid. Yeah, I know. That's because 6,000 years of human telemetry, chiropractic, and the rest of it for your circulatory system just magically disappeared. Nobody has any idea what's going on. That was 6,000 years of the human circulatory system. You call it chakras. Yeah, they call it aim and fire. 150 years ago, Aleister Crowley and people, yeah, nothing's real except what you can see. There is no biofield. There's no cymatics, there's no radionics, there's no plasmonics. There's nothing except what you can see. Well, that's a body part that's responsible for 80% of our immune system. How do we know for sure? The definition in Children's Hospital: the organs and tissues that comprise the immune system, the thymus, the bone marrow, the lymphatic, your vessels, your spleen, and your skin. And so I'm like, yeah, the human biofield being watched by Project Salus. So the human biofield is the aura, is your W band, 802.15.6.
Oh no, they found me.
Department of Defense Directive 3000.09, everything is autonomous. And you have an MQ-9 Reaper drone attached to your skin and bone.
What is her name? Where is the full video at?
That's planet Nibiru. So people are trying to say that this is being caused by wildfires and it's the smoke that's causing this color. It's never looked like this before. So let's just pretend like this is the sun and it is the smoke that's making it look like that. Why would we be able to see the smoke behind the sun? Wouldn't the smoke all just be in front of the sun? Why would it be behind it like that? How could something be behind the sun? So the sun is 94 million miles away, but yet the smoke is able to go behind it and we can see the sun in front of it. So this is planet Nibiru, a hypothetical planet. Now, planet Nibiru might be a hypothetical planet, but it is recognized on the NASA website. There's two guys that have provided evidence for a planet about 1.5 times the size of Earth. Now, it hasn't been observed as a planet, but the theory remains.
It can't be the sun because the sunset is over there. There's a planet. The sunset is over there.
She points out the sunset on the other side of the sky.
Because you know how I figured it out? What's 1 times 1?
1 times 1 is 1.
To multiply means to do what? To make more, right?
Yes.
Increase in number?
Yes.
Multiply?
Yes.
How can 1 times 1 equaling 1 be part of the multiplication table? It fails to satisfy the term multiply. It doesn't multiply. Does it? What's an action times an action?
You got some weed.
No, I'm asking you. Honestly, I'm asking you. Reason.
What are we doing here?
Reason. I want you to reason.
I don't know.
What's an action times an action? A reaction. Right?
Okay.
Have you ever seen an action times an action without a reaction? Have you? No. Because equanimity is the currency of the universe. There's always an action times an action having a reaction. So how can 1 times 1 equal 1? How can A times B just be A and not B? What happened to conservation?
Terrence, these are late night conversations.
These are
bro.
These are. This is the beginning of our understanding. It should fit. What kind of calculator you got? What kind of phone you got?
An iPhone?
Okay, go to your calculator.
Whatever the new.
No, go to your calculator. Go to your calculator.
All right. Go to
Go to your calculator.
Yeah,
you
I got
do too. You got iPhone?
What are we doing?
I want both of y'all to do 2 separate things. I want to do the same thing to start with. Turn it to the side.
Okay.
All right. Now I want you to both hit the number 2. Did the whole calculator show up?
Hit number what?
Hit the number 2.
Number
2.
Go to the square root. It is the second column from the left, 3rd row. It'll have that squiggly thing.
All right. 1.4.
1.41421353733095.
Holy
now
crap.
I want you two to do 2 separate things now. 2 separate things. I want you to multiply it by 2, hit times 2, equal, don't you do it.
Okay.
And I want you to hit x to the 3rd. X to the 3rd, it's going to be...
Times 3?
No, x to the 3rd.
Oh, X. Oh, okay. I see it.
X to the 3rd.
Yeah, I got you. All right. 1.1.
No, you didn't hit x to the 3rd.
Yes, I did.
If you hit x to the 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
So
I
go
did
back
that.
again.
Okay,
You
so
keep
now
yours where you are.
Yeah, I'm
2,
good.
2
square root,
square root.
and hit x to the 3rd.
All right, 2.82.
2.828, 4271, 2174, 6190. The same value you got
Yeah.
by multiplying it by 2.
Yeah.
And he just cubed it. Divide it by 2 again. Both of y'all. Divide
it by 2.
No, divide by 2. Hit equal. Now, cube it again. Hit x to the 3rd.
Yeah.
You see that loop?
Yeah.
That's saying x cubed is equal to 2x, which is equal to x plus x. That's an unnatural equation. That's a mathematical fallacy. And that's the beginning of your math. That's how I invented tangential flight, because your math, someone programmed that lie in there and lied to you and everyone. And all your fundamentals are off. Because you know how I figured it out?
He might be onto something. How can something plus is something, well, something multiplied by something equal more? You know, even though that's what we're taught, but it doesn't make sense. We just go with it, right? Maybe I'm on these waters too long. Like, we know it's one, but technically, if you put it with itself, wouldn't it be two, maybe? Because the whole value of one is one. So if you did 1 times 1, wouldn't it technically be 2? I don't know. I don't know.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably come across the fact that there are a whole lot of celebrities that bear an awful similar resemblance to historic figures from our past. So similar, in fact, that you might mistakenly think they're the same people. Well, if you want to see something even stranger, stick around, because I'm about to show you a handful of statues that also bear a very striking resemblance to some pretty well-known people. Case in point, Michelangelo's David. You see, I couldn't help but notice a very striking resemblance between Baron Trump and David. And well, if you don't think he resembles King David, stick around, because he coincidentally resembles another very prominent historic figure. One that they also just happened to build a statue of. This is Alexander the Great. And again, to me, there is a striking resemblance. But this one, there's even more. Because when compared to Alexander the Great, not only does he bear a very similar resemblance, but the statue of Alexander the Great just happens to have the exact same 3 skin markings as Baron. Now you tell me what is going on here. But there's more. Have you ever
How does a statue have skin markings? That's crazy.
typed in the original Statue of Liberty face? Because I bet maybe you didn't even know there was an old original one. And I couldn't help but notice the resemblance here to a certain king of rock and roll. I mean, I literally think this one is almost undeniable. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Oh, but Elvis doesn't just look like the Statue of Liberty. Type in the hypogeum of the voluminous family and look at these statues from the 3rd century BC. And you'll get pictures of a family's vault that just happened to have an angel that looks a lot like Elvis, even down to the sideburns. Even down to the sideburns. 2,000-year-old statue that's an angel. And have you ever seen the Egyptian statue that looks exactly like Michael Jackson? Oh, from just 3,000 years ago. Or the statue of the Roman Emperor Claudius. Check that one out and see if it resembles anyone to you. Because to me, there's a striking resemblance to him and Daniel Craig, otherwise known as Bond, James Bond. Now, in my opinion, there is one of 2 possible things that is going on here. One, there's just been billions and billions of people that have lived throughout history, and eventually there are just going to be people that coincidentally look like, and those people are just going to coincidentally happen to be the ones in the limelight. I don't think that's what's going on at all. Option 2, which I think is much, much more likely, is that the Bible is true, and God banished fallen angels down here amongst us humans, and they don't like that. They're mad that our spirits and our souls come and go and have an experience while they're stuck here. And whether they live endlessly or just for a certain amount of time and then get reincarnated in the exact same look-alike body, I don't know. But I know part of the reason they were banished down here is because they wanted to be worshipped like God instead of worshiping God. And well, isn't it just a huge coincidence that the people that we worship in today's day and age just happen to be the ones who also look exactly like people of the past? And while sometimes they have to fake their death or change their appearance so you don't realize that they're living a lot longer than the rest of us. But of course, all this is just for entertainment. I know that all the statues and the historic figures that look like today's people is option one. It's just a coincidence. There's billions of people in the world, and eventually they're going to look alike. Entertainment only. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably...
That's a tough one, man. I don't watch the news or movies enough to really look at someone and be like, was that him or not? You know, between the AI and everything. That's a tough one, man. Like, it's... What are they? Fallen angels shape-shifting? Or is it draconian reptilians jumping in skin suits? Which one is it? Which theory is it?
You could make a sperm out of your skin cells and an egg and fertilize that.
So you can clone me?
I could clone you. I won't do that because it's illegal, but biologically we could do that. I can make organs, mini organs from you and test. And what we're doing in the lab is we have... Yeah. Personalized medicine.
Yeah. Wow.
So when you come to my lab and you have to promise you're going to come, I'll show you. We grow these mini brains in the lab, and we've got them from people that are predisposed to Alzheimer's or not. And we have a way to age those brains so that they're now 80 years old, even though they're only a few months old. And they lose their ability to fire electrically. They become demented in the dish, little mini brains. And so we give them Alzheimer's and dementia in the dish. And then what we do is we have the system to turn on those 3 embryonic genes, OS and K, and those brains go back in age. But here's the cool thing. Alzheimer's goes away. They get the electrical activity comes back. Now we do this in a mouse. We make the mouse older, just let them age out, or we accelerate it. And we've been now reversing the age of those brains in the mice. And you can guess what happens. They get their memory ability to learn back.
Unbelievable.
Call me crazy, but isn't that how Planet of the Apes started?
Turn the machine on.
Denny Klein fires up his hot new invention. His machine emits a flame that feels only slightly warm to the touch. But watch what happens when he touches anything else.
Instantaneously, I can burn a hole right down through the center of that brick.
The flame instantly turns hotter than the surface of the sun. Heat so intense it takes only seconds to literally burn a hole through charcoal. 3 seconds turns a brass ball to glowing liquid metal. Tungsten lights up like a sparkler. Steel, lead, and other metal slices on contact. Yet the tip of the welder stays cool to the touch.
No other gas will do this.
Denny Klein uses an alternative fuel source once thought impossible. He says people still have trouble believing him when he reveals his liquid fuel.
Water. Take water and electricity, and we break it down through our very unique electrolysis process.
Klein has just patented his process of converting H2O to HHO, producing a gas that combines the atomic power of hydrogen with the chemical stability of water.
It turns right back to water. You can see the water running off of this.
Klein originally designed his water-burning engine for cutting metal. He thought his invention would replace volatile acetylene in welding factories. Then one day, as he drove to his laboratory in Clearwater, he thought of another way to burn his HHO gas.
On a 100-mile trip, we use about 4 ounces of water.
Klein says his prototype 1994 Ford Escort can travel exclusively on water, though he currently has it rigged to run as a water and gasoline hybrid.
Simply speaking, it can change the world by reducing our dependence on fossil fuels.
These are equivalent to our...
Pete Dominici is helping Klein take his hydrogen technology patents from a 2-room office in Clearwater to consumer markets around the world.
You know what? Microsoft came out of nowhere, came out of the garage. Why not hydrogen technologies?
The duo is already in negotiations with one U.S. automaker and the U.S. government. Their plans have grown from basic welding with water to powering the entire world from the safest and cleanest fuel on Earth. Craig Patrick, Fox News.
Members of Congress recently invited Denny Klein to Washington to demonstrate his technology. Now his company is currently developing a Hummer for the U.S. military that can run on both water and gasoline. So far, his water-powered engines have passed all performance safety inspections, so all systems appear to be go right now and gives new meaning to the term running water.
You just have to hope that water prices don't go up like the gas.
Turn the machine on.
Unbelievable. Where is this technology at? How come we aren't all driving H2O Hummers right now is the question. Where is he at in this technology now?
We're here in Glen Rose, Texas at the Paluxy River, and these are dinosaur tracks, just to give you an idea of the size of them. And look at the gate. They're got to be 5 feet. Boom, 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 boom.
Hear me out. What if that's not a dinosaur track, but it's actually a dragon? And that was right before he did takeoff. He needed those hard steps. Boom, boom, boom. Flapping, and then he took off. I'm telling you, man. What if the T-Rexes had wings? All the T-Rexes, what if they actually had wings and were dragons? All the cultures talk about them. Chinese, everybody. Was there dragons? Is this proof of their footsteps?
Reptiles never stop growing. It's a simple fact. Most reptiles never stop growing. They grow all their life. People stop growing. When you're 16 or 18, you're going to quit growing, at least vertically. Some go horizontally thereafter, but reptiles never stop growing. What would happen to a reptile if you put him in the Garden of Eden and let him live to be 900 years old? You'd have a big lizard. A really big lizard. Dinosaurs were big lizards that lived with Adam and Eve before the flood came. You can get these Jackson chameleons right now at the pet store. What's he going to look like at about 15 tons? Probably some kind of triceratops. Dinosaur means terrible lizard, and dinosaurs lived with humans all through history. They just had a different name for them. But dinosaur bones and human bones have been found together. Dinosaur bones were found in the same rock strata as these fossilized human hands. Dinosaur bones and mammal bones found together. Here's one of the Ica stones showing a human riding a dinosaur. Dr. Ball has a couple of the stones in his museum. We have 8 in our museum now of these Ica stones. I think we have the largest collection in America of these Ica stones from Peru. Many of them show dinosaurs on there. Dinosaur footprints and human footprints have been found together. In Glen Rose, Texas, I know there's controversy about this. I've been there 5 times. I've heard all the critics on it, and I've been there myself to check it out, okay? But go to Dallas, Texas, and go south 45 miles to Glen Rose, and you'll find the Paluxy River flows through this little town, and it's all full of limestone. The whole area is limestone. Well, that river cuts through this limestone layers. In 1908, there was a flood. The river dropped 17 feet per mile, but this flood was incredible. It was, I think, 30 feet above flood stage or something. It was just an incredible flood in 1908. It ripped off the bottom of the river, tore off the layer of limestone. 2 foot of limestone was ripped up. Underneath was a new layer of limestone, and when the river dried up that next summer, they discovered there are hundreds of dinosaur footprints. It's called Dinosaur Valley State Park. They chiseled out lots of the footprints and took them to museums to save them so they wouldn't get eroded by the river. Took out huge blocks in the 1930s and set them up under dinosaur skeletons. But sometimes in this area they find human footprints with the dinosaur footprints. Here's a trail of human tracks and crossing a trail of dinosaur tracks. And the human footprints, some of them are pretty good size, and occasionally they're found inside the dinosaur footprint. Well, if you're running through the mud to escape the flood, that's the logical place to step. Right where somebody else already stepped. Just like walking through deep snow. Reptiles
mention dragons at least once. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What's going on? If you're enjoying this video, be sure to slap that like and subscribe button because we do these videos every single day. And I love to see you around here. So let's get straight back into the action.
These 2 carvings found in another ancient temple. The woman on the left is holding a device near her ear and mouth, just like how we use a modern day cell phone. Look at the other woman. She's clearly holding a flat, thin, rectangular tablet computer, and she's using an electric stylus to touch the screen, just like how we use our iPads or Android tablets today. If cell phones were invented only in the last 50 years, how was it carved many centuries ago?
You know, I would say that she is writing something on the right, but how she's holding it and how she's pressing on it makes it seem like she's on an electric tablet-like device. And on the left, I'm thinking it could be a comb, but her hair's already done and wrapped up. What's she gonna comb it for? You know? This could be a electronic device. Signs of ancient technology that they are continually trying to hide from us, I believe. That is simply sensational.
Your name Chris?
Yeah.
What's up? How you doing, man?
Not doing too good.
Man, you want a slice of pizza?
Yeah.
Here you go, man.
Can you call PD for me? Huh?
It looks like they're already out here.
Is that the helicopter looking at me?
I don't know, maybe. But you want to possibly get out the street?
Thank you.
Yeah, here, let's wait for the cars.
Thanks for the pizza, sir.
Of course. Oh, it looks like the cops are here already. Yeah. Well, have a good one, Chris. Your name Chris?
Yeah.
What's up? How you doing, man?
Bro had 5 stars. What is going on here? I'm glad he helped him and gave him some pizza. That was good looking. Sometimes someone just needs a friend. That's all it takes. Sometimes you just need a friend.
What if I told you that the cartoon we all know as the Thundercats was actually based on a real ancient cosmic war that took place between the Lyrans and the Draco-Reptilians? Lyrans are cat-like extraterrestrials. They actually depicted them all through the hieroglyphics in ancient Kemet. The ancient Kemetic goddess Sekhmet was actually from the Lyran constellation. Kemetic goddess Bastet is also from the Lyran constellation. Here's a depiction of the Lyrans. This is an extraterrestrial feline race, okay, from the constellation of Lyra. All right, now they are pretty much agreeable, meaning that they're benevolent beings. We got along with these beings. Bastet was actually married to Enki, or they also referred to him as Ptah. We all know Mumra was their main villain, okay? And if you look at the emblem on his chest, it's a 2-headed serpent facing each other, basically. It's a personification of reptilian chaos energy. These were their primary villains, okay? They were reptilians. We all know the Draconians are basically tyrants, all right? They're a very tyrannical race. Their objective is basically to create war and chaos. For those that aren't aware of who the Lyrans are, some say that these beings actually created the Elohim. It was referred to as the Lyran Syrian High Council, all right? And their job was they overseeing the Syrians that seeded the 12-strand DNAs on the 5D planet Terra. Again, a Lyran Syrian High Council was basically in charge of hosting the seeding of 12-strand genetics on the planet. All of one was basically the personification of what's called the Christic ideology. So in perspective, this was a war of consciousness. This is a war between the Christ and the Antichrist. Christ meaning love and service to others, and Antichrist basically just meaning service to self. The Antichrist, basically in perspective, means a tyrannical mindset just in service to self and opposed to the collective conscious joining for love for others. Because these beings' objective is to basically oppress the law of one or go against the law of one, they basically are willing to mind control you to bend you to their will. They'll basically strip you of your free will. A lot of us think we are operating under our own accord, when most of the time it's MK Ultra, it's different things that are being induced in our neurophysiology to basically make us basically they're puppet mastering everyone, all right, through different technology and a lot of different chemicals and things of that nature, just to basically bend you to their will. Been depicted it in Thundercats. Mumra was a mummified mystic. He used mind control and a lot of different tactics to get the Thundercats to go against each other, to basically get them off point and things of that nature. Mumra used a lot of mind control tactics and mind games. This is the same thing that's going on currently with the Draco-Reptilians. They use MK Ultra. They use a lot of mind games to basically pull you away from who you truly are. This is why in Thundercats, they also showed us the importance of the third eye and seeing through the illusion. When Lionel picked up the Sword of Omens and he put it right here and he said, give me sight beyond sight, it opened that pineal gland up. And that's the representation of the pineal gland is seeing through the illusion. He was able to see through all Mumra's magic, all his illusions, okay? The fourth wall he put up to create that illusion, that pineal gland will break it down.
The Lycans, though? Check this out. What if the fallen angels did some type of bad genetic experiment and made those Lycans, and they had like really smart capabilities and powers, and something like that came about? I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just a crazy theory to think about. For entertainment purposes only, do your own research on everything. All of this is just allegedly.
Every ancient alphabet, bar none, has always from day one with each letter had a mysterious number associated with the letter. The study of that, every ancient alphabet, bar none, has always from day one with each letter had a mysterious number associated with the letter. The study of that code is called Gematria, atomic mass of the elements. The numbers of the atomic mass are the numbers that equate to the mysterious letters in the ancient alphabets. What that means is when you look at human DNA, or the DNA of any life, the numbers that equate to those become 1, 5, 6, and 3. Literally reads, literal. God eternal within the body. God eternal within the body. It is in Hebrew and Aramaic and Sanskrit, 3 of the root languages. If there's an intentionality underlying life itself and human life specifically, it would make tremendous sense to me that who or whatever is responsible would somehow have left a sign. Why place that signature into something that can crumble over a few thousand years, like a temple wall, or into the pages of a book that can be destroyed? Why not put it in the creation itself?
That is absolutely fascinating when you break it down like that. Energy never disappears. How fascinating. Plants, trees definitely have energy. Makes me think about the ancient trees back in the day and how they went into the stratosphere. I wonder if they were able to harness the ether naturally.
People should look into cymatics. This was done in cathedrals, which I thought was really cool. There was a fellow who took a device, went into cathedrals, and saw that the stained glass windows in the cathedrals were emitting the same picture on his device as the stained glass windows. The sound resonance in which we can't hear is actually being impacted by the materials and the colors and everything that's with it. So when you get into sound frequency, people can look into cymatics. There's lots of fellows who've done different things with cymatics. They take plates of salt and they show how different pictures and different graphics are created with sound. Each different sound can heal a different organ. This is where you get into like sound therapy, sound healing. You know, they do the things with the bells and they do things with the drums and the tuning forks. Back in the 1920s and 30s in Germany, they would do tuning forks. They put tuning forks up and down the body, and that's how they would begin to heal the person. They would find a spot that was stuck, and they would bring that tuning fork right to there. They'd hold it there until it cleared, and then they'd move it down. And when you get into plants too, certain frequencies of music can be very beneficial, and then certain ones can be detrimental.
What makes these buildings so fascinating to me is that I believe this was the peak of human building, construction, engineering, how they did it with the sounds and how they look. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who built them. If it was fallen angels, giants, however they done it, it is simply breathtaking just looking at the pictures. How do you think these were actually built? Fallen angels, giants? Did people just chisel them out of concrete? I want to know.
Multiple times over, the buildings were destroyed, the towns were destroyed, and things were reset over and over again. You had a repopulation tactic that took place. You know, you get into immigration and that whole thing too. You know, we see the same thing we hear today where we don't want the immigration and whatever. That's the same thing you hear back then, 1893.
I am almost convinced those airships was dropping pieces off of those buildings like Legos, building it piece by piece. The question is where is the foundry and how did they craft each piece? Because I definitely think airships could have played a role in dropping them off.
This ancient Egyptian jeweled scarab pectoral comes from the burial of Pharaoh Shoshenq II. At the center is a scarab beetle, symbolizing rebirth, lifting the sun disk, a powerful emblem of creation and renewal. Flanking the scarab are 2 rearing cobras, each wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, symbolizing royal protection. Along the bottom edge, lotus flowers and sun disks represent immortality. This ancient Egyptian jeweled scarab.
Oh, I see it. I thought it was a pelican at first. I'm like, okay, here's the eye and here's the beak, but it's actually a snake with a crown. What is this? A pendant? A comb? What would they put this around, a gold necklace? You know? To give the snake a crown though? What were they on?
So these
are made out of pure marble. The security guard said that the marble came from Italy and some marble came from Georgia. So if you do the research of this place, you're gonna find that there was a fire, like there always is. In 1916, there was some mysterious fire. And these are all different, by the way. And these are all solid marble, made out of solid pieces of solid marble. By the way. And, yeah, this is, you know, this place was completed. Let's just take a look here. This place was completed. Look at this. This place was completed in 1925. It was started in like 1916, 1917. Do the research. And then, in 9 years later, 9 years later, it's just 9 years later, this is complete. So, yeah, I'm here because, you know, I have to see it for myself.
That is a beautiful cathedral in New York.
This is why you soak your produce. 2 cups of vinegar, a half of a lime, 2 tablespoons of Celtic sea salt, 1 gallon of distilled or filtered water soaked for 5 to 10 minutes. And now I use my Thundercats bubbler to get it even more clean. This is why you soak your...
Probably should be washing my fruit, but I be biting straight into it.
There is a story about giants in Death Valley. These 2 amateur archaeologists, they heard these legends regarding this ancient underground city where giants used to roam. So these 2 dudes, Dr. Bruce and Dr. Daniel, they were just exploring all through Death Valley and they found this really, really small opening of a cave. So they went down in, they said it was polished stone, like it was perfect. And one of the first caverns that they found, they call it the Hall of Giants. And it was basically these preserved mummies of these giants, hundreds of them, ranging from like 8 to 12 feet tall.
Wow.
Just weird stuff. And then another room that they went into apparently had these preserved, mummified, extinct animals. They had dinosaurs in it, saber-toothed tigers, mammoths. But it gets crazier. They said that they explored it for a total of 15 years. Didn't want to tell anyone about it. So they got all these investors together and they wanted to start a company called Amazing Explorations. He brought these investors to the caves to see it. And they're like, whoa, what the heck? This is insane. But it was very secretive. So like only Dr. Russell knew the exact entrance of this cave. Shortly after that, an article came out talking about this underground labyrinth, ancient giants, all this stuff. And he said, I'm going to do a press conference. I'm going to bring artifacts from the cave and we're going to expose the whole thing.
Yeah.
On his way out to collect those artifacts, disappeared.
Oh boy.
He was just gone.
It's like we hear so many stories about giants. They all can't be lying.
You need manpower to build infrastructure and all of these things that they're allegedly doing back then. You need a lot of people. You know, you wouldn't have a population of, let's say, I don't know, 1,000 people to build these big buildings and all use the stone and all these materials. Go back and look at that and kind of see things and kind of just question yourself. Because I was watching old footage from the 1920s of just Europe, for example. The buildings are absolutely massive in comparison to the people. And you have to sit there and wonder who built that then. Because they look like little ants compared to these massive buildings. North Korea too. They have all these tourists going to North Korea lately. If you look at those old world buildings, they are all there. And it's all what used to be in America, Europe, and many other places before they destroyed it. The New World. That's why they say New Order. Because the old order is gone and the New World is here. And as America was
Lost footage, 1937 expedition beyond the ice wall. Why was this not in history?
In the winter of 1937, a military expedition vanished beyond the Antarctic shelf. No final report, no names recorded, only reels of damaged film recovered decades later. The footage shows what they found. A wall of ice stretching beyond the limits of geography, carved not by nature, but by something deliberate. And behind it, what appears to be a structure, an ice citadel etched with faces no historian can place. They made their way through the main passage, boots dragging across frost that hadn't melted in centuries. The first chamber held no furniture, no tools, only a black pedestal humming quietly as if waiting to be used. Further in, the rooms grew stranger, ceiling carvings that matched no known language, walls etched with symbols that glowed faintly under lantern light. And then they entered what the documents call the Celestial Room, a dome of perfect symmetry, star maps etched in mirrored eyes spanning constellations we have yet to name. They weren't just charting the sky, they were marking something, a path, a warning, a return. And now, after nearly a century, we have to ask, were they the first to find it or simply the last to disappear?
Are giants actually real like the Bible says? Watch this.
We were in Chiapas, Mexico, and on a mountain, we saw a giant. I'm not talking about a 9-footer or 10-footer. I'm talking about mid-20s. Not for a glimpse, not a second. For about 25 minutes, I stared at it. It did not rattle my faith one bit. No. Because I already know how to process all this. I said, Jerry, I want you to softly turn around. He said, why? And I said, because there is something, a giant on the top of that hill, and I've been looking at it for 20, 30 minutes. And Jerry turned around and went, oh my gosh! And man, when he did that thing, kind of stood up like this, and it just turned around and went, hey, Jerry, did we see a giant in Mexico? Yes, sir. Okay, there it is.
This was a giant spotted in Mexico.
Yeah, you know, it's even more weird is if you take a picture of a $1 bill on the back.
It looks like an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you actually, well, you turn the contrast all the way up. And yeah, the contrast reveals an alien head and the face, the eyes, everything. It's kind of genius. What's in your pocket?
Yeah, Roswell.
That's funny. What's in your pocket? Roswell. Oh no. The code word for today is Friday Night Vibes. Go ahead and drop Friday Night Vibes in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one because you made it all the way through. And I just want to say thank you. Your support means the world to me. And this was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow. How extraordinary is this shot? You got the sun right in between this. What is this? South Gate? Angkor Dome? This is a must-see. Where is this located? Cambodia's. Insignia of Angkor Wat. So that's the city, I guess. Very extraordinary.
What's so creepy is that the North Pole in that old ancient map, there's more to it. So there's this satellite image from the ESA 7 satellite. This was in 1968. It was like the first visual of Earth via satellite.
What the heck?
Okay, well then this was from Google Earth.
It's the hole to the center of the Earth.
And then this was released by NASA, I believe, 80s or 90s. You're not allowed to fly over the North Pole. But Admiral Byrd did. Apparently he had his secret diary. And then when he died, his son got it. And then when his son was trying to publish the stuff in it, he died. But Admiral Byrd talks about when he went to explore the North Pole, there was an entry to inner Earth, like hollow Earth. And he describes it as being in the Earth, lush green land beyond the ice, mammoth-like creatures, a technology-advanced civilization, and meeting with a being called the Master. So apparently this Master gave Admiral Byrd his message.
You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars of barbarity, but now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely the atomic energy. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race. You, my son, must return to the surface rest of the world with this message.
Cool. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button because we do these videos every single day. And I'd love to see you tomorrow. So let's get straight back into the action. It's kind of creepy looking. Like a character off of Mortal Kombat or something. Look at all the writing. Look at the care they put. Look at the bezel it's hanging on. You know, they cared. What is this, a dragon mouth holding a bell? The artwork, the appreciation they had back in the day is just unmatched. This was an ancient bell in Australia. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Have you seen this video? The 9 pillars of light were captured on camera, and this is what the government's not showing.
Brother, ew! We're gonna get some bird sounds on this organ. Look at this water. It's not clean water. Brother, ew! We're gonna get some bird sounds on this organ. Look at this water. It's not clean water.
Are you kidding me? That was beautiful. I almost feel like it was supposed to have water inside of it. Who made this? I bet you they don't know who made this. Pipe organ. One more time, guys. That was beautiful. I want that to be my alarm clock. You got the pipe organs. That's, you know, that's the sound when you make it to heaven. I feel like you hear something like that, you know? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Here we have a jellyfish-like UFO. Let's take a closer look into this.
妈妈，你别说，我就不会给你们钱呢。妈妈，你别说话了。这是什么东西啊？我的天哪，王楠！
Sounded like that was in China. Was this some type of organic UFO? And you're wondering why they got rid of the bells. It's because them boys was repelling demons and reptilians. The Draco Federation. They couldn't shapeshift. You know, as long as you got them things ringing, the reptilians can't shapeshift. I know. You ever watch Venom with the symbiotes? Yeah. The symbiote couldn't change because of the vibration of the bells.
Beings of the depths are slowly finding their way out, and we may be seeing the first signs. Watch this.
يا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حسنا كعيان حسنا خذه في باطن هذا البئر. خذه. اين نزل؟ قول يا رب شفت كيف طلع يديه؟ شفت كيف؟ شفت؟ قول يا رب.
Some believe these creatures aren't just ancient sea life, but remnants of a forgotten age, or guardians of hidden civilizations. So if they've begun to rise, then Beings of the depths are slowly finding their way out.
That thing was crazy looking, the claws. I'm trying to think, what was it, an anteater under there or something?
Now, I done seen a lot of things in New York. This one has to be one of the top craziest things I done seen. Come on, man. You balancing a fridge on his head? Now, I done seen a lot of things.
Oh my goodness. I thought that was about to get tragic, but that is pretty skillful.
Imagine something that had the ability to fly in space, underwater, and in our atmosphere at 13,000 miles an hour and change directions instantly. We fly the SR-71 at 3,200 miles an hour. If you wanted to take a right-hand turn, it would take you roughly half the state of Ohio to do it. And yet what we're seeing are objects that can do 90-degree turns instantly. And we're not talking about speeds of 3,200 miles an hour. They've been clocked at over 13,000. The question arises, how is that possible?
Dang, it takes half the state of Ohio to turn going that fast? We got to do a little bit better than that. That might be us and them UFOs, man.
Is Angkor Wat temple really 900 years old? Or was it built much earlier in time? Because Angkor Wat is much, much larger than any other temples. While other Hindu temples in Cambodia are dedicated to Shiva, Angkor Wat is dedicated to Vishnu. While all other temples are built facing east, Angkor Wat is the only temple built facing west. If Angkor Wat was in fact built 900 years ago, why didn't the immediate generations build larger and grander structures? It's humanly impossible to build such a large temple within a span of just 37 years. Perhaps Angkor Wat was built much earlier in time by very advanced ancient builders. Is Angkor Wat temple?
I agree. I believe this was the same temple they used on Mortal Kombat, the original.
These farmers came across these beings in the middle of their fields. Watch this. You might think it's just folklore, but the descriptions are always the same. Tall, thin, glowing eyes, and not human, which is why. These farmers came across these beings in the middle of...
They had to be skinwalkers.
This hieroglyph, it's a verb, keper, and depending on its use, could mean to come into being, to create or be created, or to transform. Its pictogram was selected straight out of nature's playbook, a dung beetle. This magical beetle creates new life from waste. Utilizing collected dung, it creates a cocoon for its young to be buried in sand, whereupon arises a form of resurrection. Its eggs hatch and are nourished by the very cocoon they are buried in. The feces used were rolled into a perfect and polished sphere, adding art and beauty to the mix. The implications of alchemy are self-evident here. The ancient Egyptians took the mythic image a step further, creating an entire mythscape allegory for this little guy. The beetle is represented by Khepri, who generated the creative act of the physical world. Khepri rolled primal matter along the river of the underworld at night, so the sun could hatch from it each morning. The hatchling sun would grow strong to its zenith or noon position and then grow weaker into old age as it descended into death once again. Khepri, being not subject to corruption, was driven to repeatedly resurrect the...
For more on this, see the full episode available below.
Look at this hieroglyph. It's a verb.
Library of the Untold. Very interesting how the Khepri rolled primordial matter in the underworld to make the sun rise. If you look into the 33-degree teachings of how some people talk about the black sun, there's some type of correlation between those two. Interesting.
These are the first ever images captured in the wild of a creature first discovered a century ago.
This expedition was a 35-day long expedition. We set off from the southern tip of South America and sailed 8 days east to the South Sandwich Islands. So this is one of the most remote locations on Earth.
A team of scientists, including Dr. Michelle Taylor, taking a state-of-the-art research vessel to the Antarctic. Lurking in the depths there, and only there, the colossal squid.
The fact that we saw a teenager is perhaps unexpected because everyone's always been looking for adults. So I think it's really nice that we've seen a foot-long colossal squid. So yeah, a little baby.
Dr. Taylor and her colleagues discovering a juvenile, which one day could grow to 20 feet long and weigh over half a ton. Its distinctive hooks confirming they were indeed seeing a colossal squid. They hope finding and filming one might just be the beginning. These are the first ever images captured in the wild.
That's absolutely fascinating that they found one. That means that there's a couple out there still. Those giant Kraken, the original Kraken.
Mineral deposits left by the yearly overflow of the Nile River in the Nile Valley. The English word Egypt is derived from the Greek Aegyptos, which means Memphis. The original name in Cometian, or in ancient Egyptian, for the city of Memphis was called Hut-Ka-Ptah. Hut-Ka-Ptah means the temple of the spirit of Ptah. Mineral deposits left by the yearly.
Interesting. So we got Egyptian right here in Memphis. I believe Elon Musk said something like that. They're making a new alien deity in Memphis. The perfect little compartment to put your little quarters in to get your Aldi carts.
Did you know that in the Victorian era, if a ladybird landed on you, you were extremely lucky because it was believed that it would bring new things? Now, what I mean by that is that if a ladybird landed on your head, you'd get a new hat, and on your hands, new gloves. Maybe a ladybird landed on the original owner of this ring's finger and then got themselves this ring made. This ring was made around the year 1880, and it's set with opals, rose-cut diamonds, and garnets. And if I say so myself, it's a truly remarkable creation. Did you know that in the Victorian era...
I keep getting attacked by them. I can't leave them alone. Ladybugs is what we call them here in the United States. You know, they be everywhere. I'm probably running to 3 a day. All right, giant doors. Did the giants or the fallen Nephilim make these giant doors? I had to. I mean, look at all these massive doors. Why so many? Oh, that's crazy.
I have several pictures and videos of petrified Nephilim. I'm going to show you guys everything I took today while in Iceland, and I'm going to save the weirdest one for last. In case you're not seeing it, it's like something crouching down. Like here's the leg, and then the head and the arms. Any guesses at what this might be? And in case you don't know what the Nephilim are, these are biblical giants. I use the Haven app for stuff like this. It's incredibly helpful for searching biblical texts for things that you're looking for. So it references Genesis 6:4 and says that the sons of God went with the daughters of humans and had children by them. It also lets us know that Enoch says that the Nephilim were giants and their fathers, the fallen angels. And you can even get into things like the Book of Giants. Remember, these are apocryphal texts. They are not Gnostic texts. This one's like laying on its back. You can see the nose, the mouth, and forehead, and then the whole lot. I also noticed a lot of like perfectly pyramid structures. Like, look at how smooth that edge is. That is definitely not a natural structure, in my opinion. Another pyramid shape, and it was like a perfect shape. It was a bit foggy, but this to me was a pretty clear face. But wait, because when I go down, you're gonna see feet. Look at that. I tried to record as much as I could while driving, but most of these structures have this like iron orange colored runoff. The detail in the face on this one, like the eyeballs, are crazy. I feel like this is undeniable. And it has feet. Let me know what you guys think. Are these pre-flood Nephilim and creatures and pyramids? Have you seen anything like this? Let me know in the comments. I have several pictures.
I normally see them, but I had a rough time seeing them. I mean, it's cool she out in the field firsthand, you know, boots on the ground, but I didn't see anything. I kind of saw it a little bit, that face. But drop your thoughts. Did you see something? Alright, this video appears to be in some type of different language, but your boy is going to try to decipher this. Weird looking rock. I'm looking for giants off rip. I'm like, what type of giant face can I see? It's definitely a weird rock. Could that be a finger? Possibly pointed up? I don't know. And this cliff edge is weird. Something either got melted over here is what I'm thinking.
So the Giza power plant, I described the Great Pyramids. It reacted to the Earth vibration.
How does it work?
And it was tuned harmonically to the vibrations of the Earth. Through that, they were able to stimulate electron flow in the central granite chamber and produce microwave energy. Proportions tuned harmonically to the vibrations of the Earth.
It's creepy that they knew about this technology this whole entire time and haven't said anything.
Guys, I finally found it. This is the old Fruit of the Loom logo. More than likely, the millennials, the older generation are going to remember this. There's a lot of people that are going to watch this video that remember this specific logo. However, this is the current Fruit of the Loom logo, and they deny that this was ever the logo for Fruit of the Loom. Now, I remember very specifically this being the logo, and there's a lot of other people that are going to agree with me. Look at this. Yes, Fruit of the Loom has explicitly stated in their logo has never included a cornucopia. And when we talk about the Mandela effect, this is a big part of it. There's a lot of people who remember old logos containing different things, and now they're not like that anymore. Timeline shifting or jumping. If you guys remember this logo specifically, let us know in the comments down below. This is another example. I always remember the Monopoly guy having the monocle. However, they deny that it ever had the monocle. This is what it is now. But I always remember it being this with the monocle. Again, let us know what you remember in the comments down below. You guys remember the Flintstones? It was never the Flintstones, but now it's the Flintstones. Was it the Flintstones or the Flint? Okay, I remember the Flintstones specifically. What did you remember? This is 100% what this used to be. Let's not get it twisted. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
They definitely had the cornucopia back on the Fruit of the Loom. What? In the monocle? The monocle? On the Monopoly guy? That was on Ace Ventura. You know, he was like, well, the Monopoly man, you know? CERN done got our timeline all jacked up and shifted. It's getting out of hand. They letting too much dark matter in. Go ahead and drop the double up Saturday. Double Up Saturday's a code word. Go ahead and drop it in the comments below. That shows me you're a real one and you made it all the way through the video. And I appreciate that. Your support means the world to me. This was scary videos, disturbing theories, and creepy TikToks all across the internet. I'm Jet Ski Chuck. Till next time.